Morning, I'm Sola El-Waylly, cookbook author and contributor to NYT Cooking, and I'm going to show you how to make buttery steak and potatoes. The ingredients you need to make the dish are small potatoes, ribeye or skirt steak, unsalted butter, fresh thyme, and garlic. So first off, I've got these little potatoes, and I'm just gonna cut these in half. You can just use like a russet and cut it into 1-inch chunks, but these are cute, you know? So I'm gonna add them to my pot, and I'm gonna add just enough water to cover the potatoes. You always wanna cook your potatoes in cold water. If you put them in hot water, what happens is the outside gelatinizes before the inside cooks, and you end up with like grainy potato. And we're gonna season it really aggressively with salt. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil, and we're gonna knock it down to a simmer and let it roll while we cook our steak. So I'm gonna preheat my skillet. Now, I want a really nice, rich, deep sear on this steak, so we have to pat it dry, and that's gonna ensure that it's gonna brown very quickly. Well, I like to start with a cold steak, and in order to get that really, really good hard sear on the steak without overcooking the meat, I find that it helps to just pull it right out of the fridge and then cook it. So now I'm gonna season this up. You need a lot more salt than you think, okay? Be generous at this point. You wanna make sure you get your steak in as soon as you add your oil so your fat doesn't have time to really smoke up on you. I like to flip it every minute and a half. That's how you make sure that it's cooking evenly from both sides. Whoa. So I'm going to cook my steak at this point to about 25 degrees less than what I want my final internal temperature. So I'm aiming for 130 because I'd like a medium rare. All right, I'm gonna remove this. Now, I'm gonna pour off this fat because it's gonna kind of have like a overcooked smoked flavor. We don't want that. And I'm gonna wipe out my skillet. So now we're gonna move on to the butter base. Into my pan, I'm gonna add my butter. This is 4 tablespoons of butter, 4 garlic cloves that have been lightly smashed, some sprigs of thyme, and then we are going to bring this on low heat and return our steak to the skillet. So I'm just basting for a couple minutes, like about a minute aside. Okay, so we've butter basted our steak, and we're gonna pull it off and let it rest. Now I'm gonna crack over my black pepper. I don't like to pepper my steak during the searing process because sometimes that pepper can get a little bit burnt. And my potatoes have finished cooking, and we're going to finish it off in this butter. I'm gonna let the potatoes kind of like saute in this butter, cut side down for a couple minutes. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of our potato cooking water to emulsify that fat into a nice little creamy pan sauce. So we're gonna turn that off, and we're gonna plate this up. The best part of this for me is the butter base. You really, really taste the butter, the garlic, the thyme, little potato,